made to you so special? Nothing. I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
Okay guys, Frank Style, just a guy from Brooklyn. It's October. We got a new Exorcist movie, which is The Exorcist Believer. Just come out. I'm here to give you a nice review of it. This was done by David Gordon Green. Just like he did with his new Halloween trilogy, he plans to do another trilogy, this time with the Exorcist franchise. Also, be on the lookout for my new October video, 31 Unholy Horror Movies ranking. I'm really excited to bring it to you. I've been watching nothing but devils, demons, and unholy spirits. Literally got them coming out of my ears right now. When it comes to my reviews, I always want to give you the good, the bad, and the in-between. But let's start with the premise. When his daughter Angela and her friend Catherine show signs of demonic possession, it unleashes a chain of events that forces single father Victor to confront the nadir of evil. Terrified and desperate, he seeks out Chris McNeil, the only person alive who's witnessed anything like this before. So let's begin with the good. It's a good possession movie with some strong performances by Leslie Odom Jr., who plays Angela's father, Victor, Lydia Jarrett, and Olivia O'Neill, who play the two young girls who are possessed, Angela and Catherine. So you've got a twofer, which reminds me of back in the day when McDonald's used to have that like 2 Big Macs for $2 promotion.
Right now, you can get 2 tempting Big Mac sandwiches for just $2 at McDonald's.
What you want is what you get.
You have two struggling families who are very different, but both end up in the same destination. I think the movie establishes a nice atmosphere. There's a few nice scares and surprises, and the movie is very well shot. There's also a very nice variation of the Exorcist theme that kicks in at key parts. It's slower and more subtle, but I really liked it. I think the movie is solid, and my theater experience was good overall. Moving on to the bad. David Gordon Green totally fails with the legacy part of this movie. I'm just not buying any of that bread. You got 2 legacy characters returning, one for a few minutes and the other for literally just a few seconds. You could easily leave them out of this movie, but to be fair, then it's not a legacy sequel, right? And we don't know if they're coming back for parts 2 and 3 for bigger roles. So this is more of a wait and see situation for me. It's no secret Ellen Burstyn, who played the mother in the original Exorcist, didn't want to return for this movie. They offered her money, she said no. They offered her more money, she said no again. They offered her a shitload of money, she said no. Eventually, look,
it's true that every man has his price.
And from what I hear, she wants to use the money for some sort of charity situation. So that's kind of nice. But her role in this movie is pretty minor. The original Exorcist was famous for making audiences feel very, very uncomfortable. Reagan's potty mouth and her doing things like sticking crucifixes in places that they're usually not placed.
Vagina.
Unfortunately, this movie plays it way more safe, with the 2 girls exposing people's secrets and lies and like hurting their feelings. That's just not going to cut it for a movie that has the title The Exorcist. I also felt it odd that Angela's father is a fully fleshed out character. He's got a full backstory that takes place in the first third of the movie, while Catherine's parents, they feel more like secondary characters. All you know is they're extremely religious. They go to church every Sunday, and they pretty much don't go into too much backstory with them. And now moving on to the in-between. A lot of modern horror movies, they tend to be full of jump scares and very loud noises. While older horror movies, They give you a little bit more slow creep to it. You know, all horror movies are going to have jump scares, but it's all about when to throw in that jump scare and not to give too many jump scares as it becomes redundant after a certain point. I felt like this movie did have elements from both like an older style horror movie, but it also had that newer style. And that's more about preference. For the third act of the movie, unlike the original Exorcist, which had the old priest and the young priest, and it's purely like Catholic religion, this went more with a spectrum. You have the parents, you have some people from different religions and faith, you have some concerned neighbors, and they all assemble together at this point for the exorcism, which I thought was interesting, if not a little odd. During this big exorcism scene, with all these people surrounding the two children and just kind of attacking the demons, all I could think of was
tag team back again. Check it, direct it, let's begin.
The ending to this movie is a little bit of a head scratcher. I still don't know what to think of it, but I'm reserving judgment since this again is part 1 of 3. And it is time to give this movie a score. I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10, which is a pretty favorable score. In closing, is The Exorcist Believer a good possession movie? I say yes, absolutely. Is it a good legacy sequel all by itself? Fuck no. But I'm trying to be fair as this is only part 1 of a trilogy. So I think that depending on expectations and how much of a fan you are to the original, you're going to have a variety of opinions on it. I will say this, David Gordon Green doesn't appear to give any fucks about what fans are going to think of it. He proved that when he did his Halloween trilogy, and he's proven it yet again. He's got a story and he's gonna tell it. I had a good theater experience despite some issues. I'm very curious. If you've already seen it, I'd like to know your thoughts. Please leave them in the comments section. So from the city that never sleeps, from the BK, peace, baby.
So my name on marquees found down on Broadway. Even if it ain't what it seems, I got a pocket full of dreams, baby. I'm from New York, concrete jungle.